Mobility band plan stage 2.5. It's the advanced version of stage 2, and it's gonna be splitting up lower body and upper body. And today we're starting with lower body. Let's do this. What I really like about the bands is you can do your mobility and then immediately going into exercise, which the first two exercises are gonna be two movements paired together. One, it's going to be the squats, and then you're immediately going on to good mornings. So instead of a superset, it's kind of a combination of movements here, and you're just gonna place the band around the base of your neck, feet just about hip width, and you're gonna go down and do a squat, up, and then immediately go into a good morning. So the squat, you're working your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings, in the core for balance, stabilization in the spine, and then the good mornings are more of a posterior chain, really focusing on the hamstrings and glutes with the hip extension, just like so. Ooh, nice stretch, back up and down. So this is really gonna get those legs fired up, big time. Oh yeah. So we're on to the Bulgarian split squats, and this is gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna be jumping, so we're adding a little bit of a new movement to it, more of a ballistic movement. You have to create a lot of force and use a lot of power and energy to propel yourself up to that jumping position there. And very much like a Bulgarian split squat, of course, with the band, it's gonna be wrapped around the base of your neck, and it's gonna be anchored on one foot, squatting down, and then you're gonna have to create a lot of force in this leg to push, jump, and then catch yourself on the way down. So you're not only working your quads, your glutes, and you're working a lot of your calves too, because you're gonna wanna push in a plantar flexion through your feet, so that's gonna help you jump in that position. You're also gonna use a little upper body too, because you almost kinda wanna act like you're running in a way here, and that's gonna help you get that nice height in your jump there. But it's gonna be a nice fluid motion, up and down, and surprisingly, using the band, it can be very comfortable because it almost, it kind of takes away a little bit of that pressure that can happen in that jumping motion there. So you have the security of this band, although it is adding a little resistance, it can feel pretty comfortable while you're doing it. Oh yeah. I'll take a little balance too. Whenever you use one leg, you're gonna have to engage your core quite a bit to make sure you're stable, make sure you're balanced. So yeah, there's a lot going on in this one. Take your time, but damn, it feels good.
It is time to talk about the one drawback of mobility bands. As you can see, for those of us with sensitive skin, myself included, you might be getting a little redness putting it on certain parts of your body. Thankfully, there is a nice little way of rectifying this. You just use a t-shirt, you can use a towel, instant support and comfort. But I'm gonna do it this style. It's like getting a hickey when you're a teenager. It's kind of a badge of honor, you know?
Next superset is gonna be focused a little bit more on the hamstring and glutes. The first one's gonna be Romanian deadlifts, and the superset is gonna be with the band walks. Now, Romanian deadlifts are really focusing on the hamstrings, but also the glutes through hip extension, and the band walks are really working on the gluteus medius and minimus with the abduction of the leg, and also having to balance on one leg as you move the other leg over. So a lot of glutes and a lot of hamstrings, and now with the good mornings, it was very similar motion to the Romanian deadlifts with that bowing forward and the extension of the hips, but with Romanian deadlifts, one, you can go a lot heavier, and the positioning of the resistance is a little different. With the good mornings, the resistance is coming from here, so as you bow forward, your center of gravity is pulled away from you, so you can't really do a lot of weight with that one. It's still gonna be a lot on hamstrings and glutes, but the lower back is gonna be engaged a little bit more due to the center of gravity being pulling away. With this one, center of gravity is a lot closer to you. You're holding the bands here and you're bowing forward. So one, you can go really heavy with these, and two, it's gonna be a lot more on the hamstrings and glutes and a little less on your lower back there. It'll be a lot on your grip too, because you gotta hold those bands pretty tight. Whew, those forearms are working. So now, going on to the band walks. So you wanna wrap the band around the base of your neck, stepping on the other side of the band, and squatting up. And this is the start. You wanna do a little bit of a quarter squat here. And this is gonna help fire up the glutes. So when you take a step outward, they're gonna be engaged and help to stabilize you. And you wanna do pretty small steps. You wanna keep everything real tight, nice and slow. And you're immediately gonna feel the glute medius fire up quite a bit. It's gonna be a little burn in there. Keep your toes pointed forward. Give me 6 steps one way and 6 steps the other way. Oh man. Yeah, those are on fire. Whew. Booty's popping.
We are big bare feet fan. You can probably notice that if you've seen prior videos of ours where we're working out. We try to go barefoot as much as we can. It's pretty comfortable. But with the bands, sometimes it can get a little uncomfortable, especially when you're going into the heavier gauge sizes. So if you're feeling a little discomfort in the feet, if you're choosing to go barefooted, throw some shoes on. Quick fix. Another superset, and this one is going to be focusing on more of the quadriceps and of course the glutes as well. Now the quadriceps are a little hard to isolate and target with bands alone, but thankfully there's movements that are maybe not the most typical movements you'd think to help isolate your quadriceps that can, and that is the knee raise. Now the knee raise is working on hip flexion, and one of the main muscles to help with that is the rectus femoris, which is located in the quadriceps. So we're utilizing this one to work on the hip flexors, but also the muscle located in the quads to help develop them a little bit better. And this one's a little different. It's gonna be a little ballistic because the bands are gonna wanna whip you back into place. So you're gonna have to use a little force to raise that knee up. So you're not only working the hip flexors, part of the quadriceps, but you're also working a little bit in the core too, which is kind of a nice added benefit with these. So you wanna kind of step away from the band and the anchor point, and you're gonna be kicking your knee up as high as you can, just like so. Boom, and you should immediately feel those quads fire up. You have to control the movement down as well, because of course you're using the force to bring your knee up, but you don't wanna just relax your leg and let it just whip back, because that can not only cause injury, but it can be dangerous too. So bring it up, control it down. Fast, slow, just like that. Oh yeah. Feeling those puppies burn. Now, you can use the same position in a band, removing on to the kickbacks, which is gonna be mainly focusing on your glutes, because when you think about it, you're extending your femur back behind you, and that is gonna be help target gluteus maximus. But also the gluteus minimus is gonna be working too, because you're gonna be utilizing your balance on one leg, so that's when the glute med fires up. So there's a lot going on in this one. Shorter range of motion, just pulling your leg back, leg straight, get a good squeeze at the top. But of course, the other muscles that are helped with the hip extension or even the extension of your femur is gonna be your hamstrings as well. So you might feel a little bit burn in your hamstrings, that's okay. Ooh. Wow. Those suckers burn. What's awesome about the bands is there's no real setup time. I mean, going from one exercise to the next, it doesn't take a lot of time, so those muscles fatigue real quick, but it feels damn good. And wow, this is one hell of a lower body workout. We're still destroying lower body, and the next exercise is another superset. One is gonna be the lying hamstring curls or leg curls, and the next one is going to be the hip extensions or kneeling hip extensions. Now with the lying hamstring curls or leg curls, it's focusing on the hamstrings. It's very much like the machine leg curls, but of course in this sense, instead of using cable, you're gonna be using the bands. And they feel amazing. What you're gonna do is wrap the bands around your heels here, and it's just gonna be acting much like a bicep curl, but it's for the legs. So you're working the hamstrings, and pretty simple. You wanna keep it a little bit lighter on these because you wanna get a pretty good range of motion, and you wanna make sure it's secure on something, and you are set. Oh yeah. Those things burn. They are definitely isolating the hamstrings, and as soon as you get the lying leg curls done, you're immediately going on to working the hip extensions or kneeling hip extensions. That is gonna primarily focus on your glutes. You're just gonna wrap it around your waist. In this one, you definitely want a little bit of a heavier gauge band for sure, because the hips, the glutes, is a very powerful muscle, and it's pretty short range of motion. You're only utilizing the hip extension. Oh, and you wanna get a good squeeze at that top position there. Really feeling the glutes, kind of bending the hips, and then extend and squeeze. This is called the buff baby maker exercise. But you gotta be careful. You gotta use your power wisely. Now that I put that image into your head, you probably wanna look away. Okay, on to calf raises. Band wrapped around the base of your neck, and you're stepping on the other side of the band with more of the balls of your feet, because you're gonna be raising your heels upward and getting a good squeeze in those calves. Ooh, it's a very short range of motion. It adds a little bit of resistance, which is nice, and can't forget about the calves. This is lower body, so, ooh, oh yeah. Couldn't forget the core. Final exercise is gonna be wood chops. And with this one, what you really wanna try to do is keep your legs stationary, pointed forward. You're gonna twist with your trunk. You're gonna bring your hands from in front of you onto the side, and you're really gonna feel it in that core because it's gonna be activated.
Lower body is done, and I'd say it's done in more ways than one.
I am ready to take a long, cold ice bath.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna be walking for a while. And that's good because next episode is gonna be upper body, so we're gonna be destroying that. These bands are doing their job. We'll see you next time. Yeah.